The NFL draft is only weeks away, and we are here to go through the top 10 NFL draft teams with their biggest needs. Let's get into it. Welcome, everybody, to Top Dog Coverage. It's your boy Dirty with your boy C-Dub, and all the way over on the other side is our boy Nico at Top Dog Coverage. He has been working with us for quite a long time, one of our scouts. Nico, welcome to the show, man. We've been dying to get you on. You are now here, and how you feeling, dude?
We're here. We made it.
Yeah, man.
We made it.
But C-Dub, how are you feeling over there in the middle? We sandwiched you today, so how you feeling with that?
Yeah, no, it feels good. To feel like the backbone, the meat of the sandwich. It feels great.
That who doesn't like that, right? So let's get a little background on Nico over here. We always talk about C-Dub and I are Saints and Jets fans, and Nico, tell us a little bit about your team and who you root for.
Nope. As you can tell by the ring,
here we go.
Here's Baltimore Ravens. Was born and raised in Colorado. Did not decide to like what my parents liked. Saw number 52 lighting it up on the field, and it's been my team ever since.
More than fair. Good old Ray Lewis.
So that's your team and everything. A little bit more about yourself. So tell us more about how you got into football, what you currently do, and what you're looking to get into.
Yeah, working with Top Dog Coverage, scouting for them, trying to get into some coaching as well, but started probably about in 2023, I believe, 2023. Started with sports management, met some cool guys there, made a little group, and it's been good ever since. Just trying to one day be a scout for an NFL team, hopefully, but just day by day.
It's definitely, we never give up. It's still a constant grind, and it's awesome. A little fun fact for all of you out there is Nico and I actually took the course together. So that's where we met, and we got him intertwined with the combine group that we meet with every year and everything. So I saw the work that he put in, the detail on the scouting reports, and he'd be a benefit to any organization. So we were lucky enough to get him on board with us right here. So love that you're finally on the show.
Yes,
my good friend.
Yeah, it's amazing to have you on, man. It's been years since we all met each other, and just throwing out a cold take over there, but for the first time ever, we saw Nico's Jenga skills, and they are impeccable.
I remember him getting waxed. I don't know.
My man came in there with a Bruce Lee kick and just kicked that thing right out. And I was just like, "Have you played this game before?" He's like, "No." Like
fabrication.
Beginner's luck.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, it's good to have you on. That's where we all met. Pretty much was the combine. That's where we do a lot of our takes, a lot of our meetings, and I would say a lot of our networking. A lot of different people there. So glad to have you on. We started this group and we just keep on moving forward little by little. But with that, we do have a little bit of news. So let's jump into the news real quick.
Sweet. Yeah, Chuck Clark team announcement.
Hold on, Nico.
Oh.
We gotta do the cool music first, and I gotta jam out. It's all good. It's all good.
Okay.
Everybody on the show knows that I say something really weird. I'm pretty sure nobody likes to hear it by this point, but I still do it. But it's time for the news, baby. Good. Hit us with it.
Sweet. Yeah. Chuck Clark has lined up his next NFL gig. The veteran safety signed with the Lions on Tuesday per a team announcement. Clark had a productive 6-year run in Baltimore to begin his career. His Jets debut was to take place in 2023, but an ACL tear left him sidelined for the entire season. Clark wound up making 12 appearances with New York in 2024, operating as a defensive starter.
Nice.
Awesome. Yeah.
And that's hey, that's funny. That's former Raven, former Jet.
Yeah,
now he's in line. Well, look at that.
Yeah.
2 of the 3 teams here.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. He was what we traded Jets traded like I think it was a 7th rounder or something like that for him.
Something crazy, yeah.
From the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
So do y'all know where he went to school at?
Yeah, it was what was that school? It wasn't Virginia, right?
It was Virginia Tech.
Yeah, Virginia Tech. I was gonna say, yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good, solid veteran safety signing for the Lions. I mean, we know their story. They've dealt with a lot of injuries over the last couple of seasons, and I think this gives them a veteran safety back there to kind of solidify that back end a little bit. I think he's more of a box safety, but he's been in the NFL. He's a long-term veteran, so I like the signing. I think it's good for Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they can get somebody back there. He's actually, I believe, before he got hurt, I thought he was a pretty good starter. He had a really good run over there in Baltimore, just getting better, and then unfortunately got hurt in New York. I just don't think that he's actually gotten a solid try yet to showcase what he can actually do and his potential. So, but I will say this. With that, we're always waiting for more news to come in. If by any chance anything happens, C-Dub is always the man that gets the news. So the breaking news will come on live as you guys listen to this. You never know what's going to happen. Stephon Diggs is still unsigned. Anything can happen. So,
Well, yeah, and you have the NFL owners meeting, so we had some rule changes and stuff like that. But
exactly. Do we want to go over that or not really?
I mean, we can if you really want me to.
Well, some of them I don't really like. 1 or 2 of them I don't understand. It's always kind of left and right with these rules. They'll change something, either something very small or something very big.
Okay. Well, there's 4 rule changes that have been approved by the NFL owners, and this is coming from Tom Pelissero. So by competition committee, so to permit the kicking team to declare an onside kick at any time during the game. So if you guys remember, before the rule was you can only do it if you were down in the 4th quarter.
Right.
So now you can declare to do an onside kick at any point in the game. Right. So now the next one is to eliminate the kicking team's incentive to intentionally kick the ball out of bounds when kicking off from the 50-yard line. So there was a small kind of like rule where there was a penalty, say there was a personal foul penalty on like an extra point, and they're kicking off from the 50. Most teams would just kick it out of bounds because then they'd be getting it at the, I think, 45. So it was a 10-yard difference. So they eliminated that now.
Right. Okay.
And then the next one is modifying the kickoff alignment requirements for the receiving team players in the setup zone. I'm not quite sure what that one's going to look like. So it might look a little bit different on the return team side. You know how they were lined up kind of right in front of each other? There might be there's going to be a small tweak with that one. I don't know exactly what that'll look like. And now they're going to do, this one's kind of an experimental rule. So for 1 year only, it's going to allow the NFL officiating department to correct clear and obvious misses made by on-field officials that impact the game. So you guys know how many times we've seen like the roughing the passer, pass interference, things like that. So for 1 year, the NFL headquarters can correct the calls that are obvious misses. So this is in the event that there is a work stoppage involving the game officials represented by the NFL Referees Association. So they're still deep in negotiations, the NFL and the NFL Referees Association. So there's a very good chance that we will have replacement refs to start the season.
Okay.
Putting this rule in for a year.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah. So it's going to be a disaster if this happen. So I'm hoping that, like always, deadline spur action and the NFL and the refs can get it together. But we shall see. But they had that rule in place for a year just in case.
That's going to be interesting. That will certainly be interesting. I mean,
You don't remember when we had to play some refs for a little bit? Like,
no, I do, but it's just like it does affect games too.
oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's not good. It's no bueno.
No bueno at all. But with that being said, let's jump into some. Let's jump into the draft is on its way. Let's jump to the top 10 teams of the draft here, and let's go through their needs, what they have done, or what they need right now. And we could start with the number one, with the Raiders. And I will bring up something real quick just to gain through here. But
yeah, I mean, Las Vegas, I mean, this is a team that was extremely active during the free agency period. And they had the number one pick. So obviously you'd want them to be very active. But before we get into like the draft aspect of it, and I know we're talking about their team needs, I mean, they did invest a lot of money and filled a lot of holes, I'd say, before the draft, right? I mean, you signed Jalen Naylor from the Vikings. You brought in Tyler Linderbaum, Spencer Burford. You brought in Connor Hayward to be your fullback. Quiddy Pay on the edge. Wade Walker, Will linebacker. Jacoby Dean at Mike linebacker. Teron Johnson to play that nickel. Brought Matt Gay at kicker. Tariq Young from Seattle to be a kick returner. So you had a lot of guys to kind of complete and fill some holes. I mean, you got Linderbaum, who was a big loss for Baltimore Ravens, right? He's one of the best centers in the league. But you pair that with, obviously, they'll probably go quarterback because that's a major need since they only have one on the roster.
Yeah.
Right? But you pair a veteran center with a young quarterback that can help them with making the calls at the line and putting them in the right situation. So I really like what what Las Vegas has done to put the pieces around a young quarterback whom presumably that they will draft at the number one pick.
Yeah. That obviously we all know that quarterback spot is the toughest or the number one thing that they're missing out on. They have filled a lot of holes. I'm not gonna lie, like they spent some money in some spots, and I still do worry about their offensive side though. Obviously it does start with the quarterback, but it also starts with guard and tackle. They need some tackle help, they need some guard help, and they need some wide receivers. I mean, you send out your wide receiver over to Jacksonville, and they signed him as soon as they got the chance to. So you're down weapons, you're down offensive line, and you're down quarterback. Now, I don't just want to say it is what's going to happen is what's going to happen, but I think we can all have see the writing on the wall right now for the number one pick, and that's one thing. But then you got offensive tackle, guard, wide receiver. You need weapons here because I don't think they're just going to throw this. They could just throw this kid to the wolves. I have no idea, but it's not looking good for, walking in there right away. And I understand where they're at. So I take that with a grain of salt and, but I don't think that's the best place that you want to be is your offensive line weapons that you don't have.
Nico, you got anything you want to add to that before I go in on dirty?
Only thing I will add is I am a big believer in Dante Thornton. I want to see how he plays out this year, that wide receiver for them. Second-year wide receiver, I think he's one of my sleepers for this year. I want to see. I think he could step up in a big role for them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's one piece, right? He was a fourth rounder last year. He's got the side speed combo. So he could easily play that Rashid Shaheed role in Kubiak's offense, get deep down the field passing. Like that could be a big piece of the offense, which is a huge piece of Kubiak's offense, right? You run the ball, you have the wide zone run scheme, and then you have play action over the top. I mean, it made Derek Carr look great for two games for the Saints 2 years ago, right? It really opened it up for JSN to get that massive payday. And the weapons, they're not great. I mean, this is a team that still employs Philip Dorsett II. Like, I'm sure you guys still knew that he was on the team there, huh? So you have a second rounder that you invested in, Jack Besh. You have the fourth rounder in Dante Thornton Jr. You have your former third rounder, Trey Tucker, who actually was pretty good. I mean, he plays outside, but I mean, he's so fast. He's a smaller receiver, but
Mm-hmm.
you have Jalen Naylor, who's kind of played that slot role and had some moments in Minnesota. So it's a young, unproductive so far receiving core that could potentially grow with this young quarterback. And I would also say that I could see them definitely investing in another receiver and some more weapons for him. But you got to also remember, you got Brock Bowers, who should be the number one target, right, on this team.
Mm-hmm.
But I could definitely see them trying to pair like a Omar Cooper Jr. or Elijah Surratt, one of his receivers from Indiana, pairing him with what we've seen with like the Burrow Chase connection, the Tua Waddle connection, Jalen Hurts, Devonta Smith connection. So I could definitely see them investing in that and a weapon that he's familiar with as well. So, but I do agree they should add another weapon and I think some more depth on the offensive line, no doubt.
Yeah, I think as soon as they kind of, even if they put like a Band-Aid or two on it, it'll make it look that much better. I think Clint Kubiak going in there will make it what he wants it to be. You've seen what he did in Seattle and how he ran that offense. So I believe that he could take a rookie quarterback such as Mendoza, throwing that out there, and make it happen. Do things the way he wants to, using Thornton as that Shaheed and having Ashton Genty, who's, we haven't seen his full potential behind a very weak offensive line yet. So, when this does happen, I would be very excited to see a quick flash in the pan just to see what they are capable of, even though they're in a really, really tough AFC West division.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy that's helped make Derek Carr look good. This is a guy that helped Sam Darnold get to a Super Bowl. Like, Kubiak simplifies the offense and puts his guys in a really great position to succeed. So I'm really excited to see what he can do with a potential quarterback at one for this Raiders team.
Yeah. NICO, any final words before we go on to another team?
I think we're good. Yeah.
All right. Hold on. All right.
This next one's near and dear to somebody's heart.
It is near and dear to somebody's heart. Michael Rizzo, our shorts creator and our video editor. No, we'll go down.
So is he like he's like the wizard, right? From the Wizard of Oz. He's the guy behind the curtain.
Yup.
Mm-hmm.
Yup.
Yeah, that's Rizzo. Let's start calling him the Wizard, bro.
Mm-hmm.
The Wizzo.
Okay.
Michael Wizzo.
That sounds a little weird. That sounds like really kind of Mike Tyson-ish. I don't know.
Not for nothing.
I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like that.
Not for nothing. We can't. I don't think we should change his name only because, like, who has the best name
for real?
When Riz just came in, like, I never had that word growing up. Okay, this is like the perfect setting.
Oh, yeah, we didn't grow up in the 20s.
Yeah, the Roaring 20s,
Great Depression.
Oh my!
That's what made
Great
you.
Depression was the 1930s. Okay, it was the Roaring 20s. Okay.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, we roared into a depression. Right?
Yeah, after I lived. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So the New York Jets have the number 2 pick here, and
lay it on us. Go on and vent. Tell us.
They're kind of in the same boat, man. They, we saw what happened when. When you don't have a quarterback to do what he's got to do. Obviously, I believe that they are kicking for next year for the quarterback. They could get Ty Simpson at 16. That's possible, but they do need a quarterback. I understand that they just traded for Geno, and they traded for what was it?
Can I ask your thoughts real quick?
Yeah.
So Aaron Glenn at the owners meeting said that he can envision Geno leading you guys to a Super Bowl. How does that make you feel?
Not good. Moving on. That doesn't. Okay. There's the. You know what? Maybe his promised land is different from my promised land. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on in the guy's head. Okay. Maybe he got hit in the head too many times. Okay, but I don't.
Whoa, he played corner. Okay, I mean, just back in the day. But I think he's a heck of a defensive coordinator. I don't know.
I'm waiting for him to do something as a head coach though. Still. Yeah. So.
I can't wait until that first pick. That first interception is going to be just exhilarating. It's going to be like that time where the Browns didn't win any games for like 2 years and they busted open all the beer cans whenever they put Baker Mayfield in the game. I think it was against your Jets too, right?
Probably.
Browns won when the Browns won.
He came in and
we need to pop bottles whenever you get your first pick, bro. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, I got one for you. Who did the Jets take out to get Baker Mayfield in the game?
Tyrod Taylor.
Tyrod Taylor. It always circles with us, okay?
Yeah, Tyrod Taylor always gets hurt, and then a new star is born. It's just it's like the Lion King, dude. It's just
we did it.
You gotta have to sacrifice.
We did it to Bledsoe, and we let Brady out the cage. Okay, it just continues. But yeah, I'd say this, like, they could go quarterback somewhere in 16, but at the same point, like, they still have a lot of needs. They only got a couple offensive. They got an offensive guard, Parham from the Raiders, so they actually did solidify, which have been one of their problems for a very long time, their offensive line. Their offensive line actually is decent. Now they don't have any wide receivers. They got Garrett Wilson, and we saw what happens when Garrett Wilson gets hurt. Okay, there's not a lot of options behind that. So that is a serious problem right there. You need another wide receiver to come in and help out. You do need a quarterback. We know that Geno Smith is going to be this bridge quarterback. It's a great deal with what he's working on, and we need somebody but additionally to Will McDonald to get to the quarterback here. Okay, so he has speed, but it doesn't look like he's going to be an every down edge. So you need another guy that's going to be able to get to the quarterback. Okay, they have a lot of depth in defensive tackle, but you need a quarterback, you need a guy to get to the quarterback, and you need a guy to catch the ball from the quarterback. Okay, these are the three main things that we need, and I wouldn't be shocked, okay, if the New York Jets went rogue. And yes, they do need a linebacker for the next couple years. But on the same end, if Demario Davis is there for the next 2 years, I know he's 37, you could set up Arvell Reese for the next 7 years, let's say, okay? And you have your green dot guy that's calling plays. Understandable. What if they went rogue and they picked somebody like Carnell Tate? And you get a wide receiver at a discounted price, knowing how high. I don't think they're going to do it, but I'm just throwing a scenario out there. You're getting a discounted wide receiver here for the next 3 years at least. Okay.
Yeah, you got 5 years control. So
yeah, unless he asks for a restructure. I mean,
4 years, and then But we've seen the guys get. You look at the JSN deal. I mean, his doesn't really kick in until a few years down the line.
Right.
So. Yeah, I mean, I think it would make sense, right? I think Carnell Tate maybe is the number one receiver in this class. Debatable. I mean, the receivers in this class, they have a lot of potential, and it's kind of like pick your flavor on what you want at receiver. But I mean, you pair another Ohio State receiver together, Garrett Wilson, Carnell Tate. I like that combination for whoever plays quarterback, Geno, Brady Cook, Bailey Zappi, whoever. And I could riddle me this, Batman. What if you took your Arvell Reese at pick 2 and then you tried to trade up with that 16 pick to a team that, while Carnell Tate's on the board, similar to what we saw the Texans do a few years ago with C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson Jr.
Yeah. And you would have to do it.
You got capital.
And you would have to do it without using one of your first rounders, because I know you want to use your first rounders probably next year. If you're not going to get your quarterback this year, get the guy.
You got 3 of them, so you got capital. Not to mention second and third rounders too. So depends on which pick you're moving up to. Like, is it 3? Is it 4? Is it 8, 7? What one of those?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I agree with you. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, Nico, what are your thoughts on that? Like, A, their needs, you know what I mean? And then B, possible just kind of 180 switch from what everybody thinks. Now, I still do think that they're going to take linebacker Arvell Reese. I do. But financially speaking, if you can control a wide receiver or your best pick out of the litter, do you think that that's a smart move, or would you still go line or, defense?
No, I'd probably take that wide receiver at 16. Like I said, there's going to be so many wide receivers. I don't know what order they're going to go in, but I would just take one of the remaining ones or best selection of the top whoever's there left there at 16, and then Arvell reset too. I like that.
You
Or
like Arvell reset?
I like David Bailey a little bit better, but.
Well, all right. So what if this though? Nico, you got to turn your camera, dude. You're Two-Face right now from Batman. That's probably why C-Dub said riddle me this. But no, what if the Jets went rogue and didn't take a linebacker at 2 and they went first wide receiver off the board?
That'd be crazy. I don't know if I'd quite do that, but
right. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. That would be.
No, you know what? I mean, if that's your guy and you think that give you a top receiver in the NFL, go get your guy. Who cares what everyone says? They're going to give you an F anyways. It's the Jets. Who cares?
That's true. That's definitely true.
Yeah. I mean, Aaron Glenn's fighting for his life here. Like, go get whoever is going to help get you some dubs this year. Like, whether that's Reese, whether that's Carnell Tate, whether it's guard, I don't care. Like, whoever you guys deem is the best talent that's going to help you win this year, draft them.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
That's just my take. But can we, whenever we get done with the team, can we recap what we talked about for our needs are? Just to help the audience follow a little bit, because I'm kind of getting confused too.
Yeah. No. We'll do that. Let's go back to the Raiders real quick, because we pretty much just finished up with the Jets. So the Raiders definitely in need of a quarterback. I think we know that, and also in need of offensive guard and offensive tackle here. But you guys made your take pretty much with the wide receivers. They do have depth, but they could use a little bit more quality in there. Certain things are kind of still unproven in that wide receiver, but they do have a lot of potential, knowing that some of these guys are all stepping up. So say quarterback, offensive guard, offensive tackle, and possibly wide receiver there for the.
So quarterback, O-line, and receivers.
Yeah. And then you can go to the New York Jets and wide receivers. Biggest thing, edge and QB. I know people want to put QB there, and but you have Geno Smith there right now. For the future, yes, it will be QB, but right now you need somebody to catch the ball if somebody goes down besides Garrett Wilson. So so I would say wide receiver, edge, and QB, and then your linebacker after Demario Davis is out of here. He's 37 years old. So, but other than that, those two teams right there, that's what it's looking at. It's kind of almost the same theme, so.
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna be a common theme with the top teams, but
most likely
this next team is very intriguing because I feel like they have the weapons, but it's essentially everything else, and that is the Arizona Cardinals. So pick 3, we have the Arizona Cardinals on the clock, and right now you have new head coach, I believe new GM too, right? Or no?
I believe there is a new GM.
Right. So we got one of the LaFleur brothers, right? He's the new guy here in Arizona. Yep. And we signed a lot of different free agents, mostly on the offensive side, and kind of just mainly more role players. I mean, you got Kendrick Bourne, who slots in as one of your starting receivers, more maybe the outside guy. You have Isaac Seumalo coming over from Pittsburgh, start at guard. Elijah Wilkinson, start at tackle, potentially. You brought Tyler Algier over from Atlanta to be the starting running back. And you got a new nose tackle in Roy Lopez. So for me, this team, I think you have to attack offensive line. We got to protect Brissett, Minshew, whoever is going to be playing quarterback. And we've invested a lot of picks on this defensive line and this defense as a whole. I mean, first pick in Walter Nolan, first pick in Darius Robinson, first pick in Zaven Collins, 4th rounder in Cody Simon. You had a 2nd rounder in Will Johnson, 2nd rounder in Budda Baker. So a lot of top tier draft picks on this defense, but it has not been good.
Oh.
Right. So do we just need to throw more assets at it? I think you could look at maybe adding some more in the secondary because Budda Baker's not going to play forever. Maybe some more linebacker depth, some more edge depth. But really, we got to solidify this offensive line. I mean, you got Paris Johnson Jr., who's been solid at left tackle, but that's about it. I think you could really upgrade at any spot on the offensive line.
NICO?
No, yeah, I agree. I was just looking at the center. They have a pretty good, decent center, though, right? I cannot say that name. But yeah, yeah. Other than that, it's rough on the offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, look, they got Isaac Somalo, the backup Gardner Minshew, Elijah Wilkinson, Matt Pryor, and they retained Jonah Williams, right? They're desperately clinging on to anybody that they can right now just to make things work. I hope that they come in with a game plan that is fast paced and gets rid of the ball quickly, because right now it's not looking really good on how weak the offensive line is. But I can say that we've talked about this with the Houston Texans last year, and the Houston Texans were absolutely fine. Now, I don't want to compare teams, but at the same point, I didn't really give the Houston Texans any type of chance. Meanwhile, we didn't give the Seahawks a chance either. They were ranked the 26th O-line last year. And I know you don't want to hear it, but we have to own up to it, okay? We have somebody right now getting memorabilia through the mail because of us, okay? Shout outs to Lord Commander, by the way, sir. And so who knows, but they desperately do need offensive line help. You're absolutely right. And they do have weapons. The weapons that they have, just imagine if they did have some time in the pocket.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, offensive line has to be addressed. And I think it's a lot of top-end receiving talent with, obviously Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Wilson, Kendrick Bourne. But the depth is kind of scary. Like, if any of those guys get hurt, we're trotting out Simi Fioku, Jalen Brooks, Bryson Green, DeHaan Palmer, Xavier Weaver. Like, you guys didn't even know who any of those dudes are. You've never heard those names before in your life.
I did. I have. Xavier Worther, baby. See you.
But also, like, I know we're talking about team needs, but can I just focus on like a team strength real quick?
Shoot.
Look at this running back room. Tyler Algier, James Conner, Trey Benson, Bam Knight. Like,
I am excited to see what Algier can do over there, man.
Let's just run the ball 50 times a game,
Get it done.
Like, why not? Sign me up.
Yeah.
I don't know why I keep zooming in on me.
Because you got a big head.
Yeah, probably.
But you got a lot of knowledge in that dome, sir.
I just think offensive line has to be addressed, and I think the defense, you just add some more young talent. We got to get this thing right, and it hasn't been for a long time.
Well, at that 3 spot, do you think you take one of the best? Well, like, what do you do there?
Personally, I'll give you my opinion, but I want to know what NICO would do before I give you my opinion.
If I'm them, I'll maybe trade back a few spots and take Ty Simpson. That's what I would probably do. But if I'm taking just someone at that spot, I want to say offensive line, but I would either take the guard from Penn State or maybe that tackle from I'm blowing his name right now. But I would definitely take an offensive lineman probably if I'm picking there.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, pick 3, it's got to be a premium position. And what we discussed, offensive line is kind of abysmal. I'm getting with the scouting department, and whoever we deem is the best offensive lineman, guard, tackle, doesn't matter, drafting them. And we're protecting whoever is going to be throwing the ball.
Okay.
I agree.
Do you think that people are willing? What happens if you get a really good, takes 2 to tango? We get it. You get a really good draft trade offer. Because I think
absolutely.
I think
they have a lot of needs. I think they have a lot of holes.
Perfect position for people to be like, oh, word, like there's still really good players there, and like maybe basically like no offensive weapons are chosen yet. Let's see what the Arizona wants right now. maybe there's some players that can go their way. Like
yeah. I mean, we saw the major trade with Travis Hunter last year, right?
Absolutely.
So I could definitely see them moving back because you want to accumulate as many picks, not only this year but next year with a potential historic class, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think a trade back, sure, because as long as you have a cluster of players within whatever pick range that you fall back to that you feel good with when they come down, like pull the trigger. Because I mean, the draft's a crapshoot, regardless of how much time and film we watch, right? We never know who's going to pan out or anything like that. So you want to take as many swings at the bat before, as possible.
Absolutely. Yeah. You want to go over, just recap that real quick?
Yes. Let me pull up my cards real quick because
sorry. I could do it if you want me to.
No, I got you. So we talked about terms of the needs for the Arizona Cardinals, offensive line, guard, tackle, anything, and defensive depth. So those were the two key parts, and specifically edge and defensive backs. So corners and safeties.
Fair enough. Let's keep it rolling, and let's go to the number 4 pick in the draft, and we'll head down to Nashville, Tennessee, where they have a brand new head coach, Robert Saleh, and offensive coordinator, Brian Dable.
The all-ball squad.
Yep, the all-ball squad. And, yeah, I mean, look, if you take a look at it, it's weird to say this, but they need edge help, right? But if you look at who they picked up in free agency here, they picked up, I'll just go over real quick, just defensive wise, John Franklin Myers, Alante Taylor, Cordell Flott, okay, Jacob Martin, Jordan Elliott, Josh Williams, Malik Herring. Malik Herring's terms that were not disclosed here. So, and Tony Adams. These are all guys here that have been inside Saleh's system. So he is revamped.
What about the traded guys? What about Jermaine Johnson II and Solomon Thomas?
I was reading off a quick list. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
All right.
Sorry. But these are and again, same guys, right? They're all part of that. So I believe that they are probably going to get another star young kid probably right there. Or do they go after a running back?
I mean, I would love to, Music City.
I would also love that.
Word. They do need this edge, but they also need linebacker help there, and their wide receiver core is not looking as like Wan'Dale Robinson was a great look. They have Calvin Ridley still over there, and Van Jefferson, but it's not.
Yeah, Alec Manor. I think I really liked him coming out last year. And I think he's still growing and developing as a receiver. So I really like him as a starting receiver. And then you got Chimere Dike, who is
showed a lot.
Yeah, I mean he's broke the all-purpose record, all-purpose yardage record. So he's definitely one that can continue to develop. And you still have Xavier Restrepo, who was undrafted, who was Cam Ward's favorite target in Miami. So get them to continue to work together. It's just speed was his biggest question mark. But I mean, he was a great route runner. He broke the Miami receiving record when he was there. So again, another one that you've got some talent on the top end. You got a little bit of depth there. But the thing is, they brought over a bunch of former New York Jets and a former bunch of New York Giants. And it didn't really work out for those teams. So maybe it'll work for us. I don't know. And you paid Wan'Dale Robinson Brinks truck load of money to come and be your slot, right?
Yeah.
And that kind of makes me nervous because, I mean, he was just a target hog just due to the injuries with Malik Neighbors and everything. But, we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. You do have Tony Pollard and Tajay. I do want to see what Tajay has to offer. Still, it's not. I don't think he's necessarily, down and out. But it's just he hasn't been healthy enough to show what he can do.
Well, biggest thing is he has the degenerative knee, so it's you have to limit his carries, and I don't know how long he's going to last in the league. But I mean, he was a stud at Tulane, right? So he's just another good receiving back. Like He's got good hands. But you definitely have a stable of backs, but I don't know if you have a true difference maker, if you will.
Yeah. That's a true story. Nico, what are you thinking on the Tennessee Titans here?
Yeah, when I think of Tennessee Titans, I think of great running backs. You think of Eddie George, and straight to Chris Johnson, then straight to Derrick Henry. They've been missing that piece lately, so I would get a Jeremiah Love, and hopefully he could be that next piece for you for the next 10 years, hopefully 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's definitely a possibility over on that side. People have said that, he's a defensive-minded coach. He'll go defense, but that wasn't necessarily the point with the Jets. People said, oh, well, he picked Garrett Wilson. Yeah, he also picked Sauce Gardner before him. So he could go defense. What's to say he doesn't go offense? You know what I mean? You have a guy that's working with you to try to get all the players that you need right now. And if you need to, maybe Brian Dable's like, hey, dude, like, it's great I got Cam Ward here, but I need X, Y, and Z. Possibly. Or maybe he wants to solidify that defense. That defense has kept the Jets in a lot of games, has kept the 49ers in a lot of games. And, if you can play an average offense, you could probably win some games, knowing that they probably have an easier schedule than most. So just my opinion. But are we good on the Tennessee Titans?
Yeah.
So just to cover it again, looking at edge as one big critical need, along with linebacker and wide receiver and offensive guard. That's some of the things that they need over there. And then everything else is actually looking pretty good over there. So edge, linebacker, wide receiver, offensive guard for the Tennessee Titans.
And playmaker, running back. We forgot the running back.
Good old running back. They could use that, yes. You want to take us to the next one, sir?
Yeah. Well, let's go to your neck of the woods, and we're going to go to Big Blue, the other New York Giants, the new Harbaugh Giants, if you will. We're pretty active in free agency. You brought over Darnell Mooney from Atlanta. You brought Calvin Austin III from Pittsburgh, Isaiah Likely from the Baltimore Ravens, Patrick Ricard from the Baltimore Ravens, Sam Roberts from Atlanta, Cam Jones from the Jets, Tremaine Edmonds from Chicago, Jason Pinnock from San Francisco, Ardarius Washington from Baltimore, Elijah Campbell from Miami, Greg Newsome II from Jacksonville. And special teams, you brought in Jordan Stout from Baltimore, Jason Sanders from Miami, and Zach Triner as a street free agent. So a lot of different moves, and this is a team that, I don't know, I feel like they had a lot of pieces and a lot of talent. The coaching was awful. And this weird Dayball Dart bromance, doing stuff in the tent. It was just weird. I didn't really like it. They didn't really protect the Dart. But I think the first thing that pops out at me is offensive line, right? You've invested a first round pick in Andrew Thomas. You have John Runyon, who came over from Green Bay, a second rounder, John Michael Schmitz Jr. You brought in Aaron Stein from Tampa Bay and Jermaine Illuminor from Vegas, and Evan Neal, who just did not pan out. You spent a couple mid-round picks, but I think you really need to invest a lot in this offensive line. I think you need to upgrade guard play, maybe get some more tackle depth, because Andrew Thomas has not been healthy. Jermaine Illuminor has been, I think he's been a solid player, but the biggest key is we have to protect Dart and Famous Jameis.
Yeah, I would say, looking at it, they definitely need help in that guard spot. Van Roten is basically mid pack of inside of the offensive line there.
Roten.
Yeah, and he's a free agent, and so he could be good. To plug in there. They need somebody over there. So there's.
I don't know if he's still on the team, brother.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
They could still use some people on that inside, and there's still some people out there that they could utilize. They need some help in the offensive guard area. So even if that's like, you're talking about somebody who is really halfway decent in there that could fill a role in there. But at the same point, their wide receiver depth isn't looking too good. We saw Malik Neighbors go down with an injury last year, and it was, Wan'Dale Robinson show, but he is no longer there. So you have Slayton, I believe, still there, and your Hyatt you got rid of because he runs like a mannequin, and that's all he can do is run.
He's still there.
Is he?
Yep.
Would they cut all these guys just to?
They brought in Darnell Mooney. They brought in Calvin Austin III. You still have Isaiah Hodges. You have Bo Collins as undrafted free agent from last year. Jalen Hyatt. So you got some guys. So you got some receiver depth there a little bit, but you could definitely add some more weapons there. I mean, because we don't know how far along Malik Neighbors is in his injury. Is he going to be ready for week 1? I'd assume so, but
I'd say you need a name there. I mean, these are guys that, like, you got Calvin Austin over there. Cool. But, like, the reason why Pittsburgh didn't want to hold on to him.
I don't know. I like Darnell Mooney a lot. I think he's been a stud since he came in the league from Tulane. He did great with the Bears. He's been solid with the Falcons. He dealt with a lot of injuries last year, but him as a number 3 receiver, him and Darius Slayton are going to probably split snaps. I mean, I like that. You like that? I like that.
I've always been a big believer in Bo Collins too. I liked him coming out of the draft last year. I want to see if he can get more involved too. See.
Yeah, but did anybody show up to his birthday party?
No.
Well played. Well played. Yeah, and they're looking at a couple notes here too. It's a 50-50 shot. They can upgrade their cornerback area over here. So they definitely have a shot at I know C-Dub was talking about some of his favorite cornerbacks, but I don't think they're going to pick a cornerback at 5. I think they're going to go offensive weapon here. But at the same point, C-Dub was going over a couple different corners that he really liked in the draft, and that could certainly be an upgrade for the New York Giants playing a defensive type of role. If you're, if we do go with the storyline of, hey, the wide receivers look good, you have, I would say, notably 3 pretty good running backs in there. Your offensive line isn't terrible, right? And you got the quarterback that you want. So I'm not saying everything's perfect, but if you wanted to take a chance on it, you could.
Yeah, I just, for their needs, if we're just going to break down needs, I would say offensive line, linebacker. I know you signed Tremaine Edmonds, but you could use some more linebacker depth, and you have a plethora of edge rushers, right? So I don't know if edge is necessarily need. And then, defensive back, I would say corner and safety. I could definitely see them as a Caleb Downs spot, because I think he could transform any defense, really, and he's such a heads-up smart player. Because you have Tyler Nubin and Javon Holland at starting safeties, and you have Drew Phillips playing that nickel role, which you can slide Caleb Downs in that nickel role or put him wherever on that defense, and he'll excel. So
nice. All right. Anybody else have anything to say more about the New York Giants? No?
No, I think we're good.
All right.
Halfway done. Halfway through the first 10 picks.
Yep. So we'll go to the Cleveland Browns, whose cap is still $21.5 million. And they are at the pick 6 spot, I believe. And
is that because Shador threw a lot last year? Probably.
So kind of the same thing. They still need to find out who they want to throw the ball, I would say. That's my take. But their defense looked really good last year. If we're going to be real about it, their defense looked excellent. That was one thing me and C-Dub had talked about. And it was something that we were for sure that they would probably do. Now they still need help on this, offensive line yet again. And the weapons that they have just not panned out. We saw Harold Fannin Jr. Pan out pretty good last year, and Njoku pan out pretty good last year. Some wide receivers panned out, not too bad, but their offensive tackles is something that they need, and they the guys that they had signed years back just didn't pan out. You know, you're talking about somebody like Jack Conklin, who they spent a lot of money on a couple years ago, and it didn't really pan out the way that they thought. They gave him the big money, and he was decent at best. So they're gonna have to reprioritize their offensive tackles, their wide receivers. You know, I actually do like Cedric Tillman. I have been a fan of Cedric Tillman. I just think he's not in the right spot. Jerry Jeudy, I don't know what happened or what's going on, but I would say Isaiah Bond too. All three of them put together, I don't know why it's not working, but I could see all three of them as really good talents. So maybe it's the guy throwing the ball, lack of guy throwing the ball. I don't know.
I think you have to upgrade the weaponry. I mean, like in a vacuum, these guys have some talent, but you need like a true number one difference making receiver, right? I don't care who's playing quarterback. We have to get a bona fide alpha receiver in there because Jerry Jeudy, I've never really been a big fan of him coming out of Alabama. The big trade from going from Denver to Cleveland hasn't really worked out. Cedric Tillman, he's got some talent, former third rounder, dealt with a lot of concussions last couple seasons or whatnot. Isaiah Bond had the legal issues coming out of the draft last year, signed as an undrafted free agent with them. He's a great deep threat. It's a lot of what he did at Texas, and I think he could definitely be a piece, but you got to add more talent to this receiving room. And I would say the offensive line, made 3 changes to bring over 3 starters in Zion Johnson from the Chargers, Elton Jenkins from Green Bay, and Titus Howard in that trade with the big money there. Just DeJuan Jones as your left tackle. He has not been able to stay healthy. He's a massive mountain of a man, but at the same time, you need someone that's going to be durable and can protect that blind side for who plays quarterback. So I think tackle is definitely a need. And this defense, it's got a ton of pieces. It's played great. I think you need a running mate for Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
And he's not going to play forever, so you want to start investing in that edge, just to kind of take some pressure off of him. Like, despite being the main focus on that defense, he still broke the sack record. That just speaks to the type of talent he is. You brought Quincy Williams in over from your New York Jets. You have Carson Schwetzinger, who the reigning defensive rookie of the year. So you've got a ton of pieces, but I really think we need to focus on the offense. And I think that's why Todd Monken is the head guy there, kind of get that offense right. And for whoever is playing quarterback, but I'm really curious to see how this defense does. It's got a lot of talent, but obviously it's a new guy in charge. But in terms of needs, I would say receiver, tackle, and edge.
I think that's pretty good. I don't disagree with that at all.
Yeah, definitely concur.
I saw, making a couple different trades and everything and retaining some of the people that they did. It wasn't really wasn't the sexiest offseason for them, but I am excited to see what they can do with this top 10 pick and if it can elevate the offense just a little bit and allow the defense to get the ball back to the offense so that they can maybe win a couple more games here. You know what I mean? Just keep a little bit more fluidity and see if the offense can do a little bit more.
And this is a team that has 2 first-rounders for the record, just like your New York Jets. So
yep, they got the 6 and 24, I believe.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Something like that. All right, let's move on to the Washington Commanders. All right, let me find out where these guys are. There they are. And this is a team with $49.5 million still set. And I would say off the top of my head, I know they signed a couple people. I would say that they need a running back. I know that they probably have bigger needs than that. I understand that. But they need a running back here to be solidified. They got Jerome Ford. They got Bill over there, and who else?
Rashad White.
Rashad White. Yeah. Look, those are great and all. Okay, awesome. you need somebody that's going to handle that rock and go. Okay. If by some chance Love falls to them, I think that's exactly where he should go. Okay. You have a guy that gets the ball every single down, Jaden Daniels, and then Jeremiah Love. I think those are two guys that you want to have the ball, personally. But that's just my take. On the other hand, we look at they have a very very critical spot of having a center. They did make a lot of moves here, but hold on, let me pull this up. Sorry. But it's not looking like they are. They have focused a lot on the center position, so they're going to have to get somebody out of this. They do have Laramie Tunsil still and Andrew Wiley and some backup, some depth, but who's going to keep this kid standing up? That's the thing. Jaden Daniels, you don't want this kid to get hurt. He has gotten hurt in LSU. He got hurt last year. You need this kid to stay as healthy as possible. We've seen what he can do while healthy, so I think they do need to solidify that centerpiece that can command the offense and call out the defenses. They are in a tough division. They do have the New York Giants, the Eagles, the Cowboys, and they have to deal with this all the time. So I would say that the center of that offensive line needs to be looked at very hard. So that's one thing. And I would also say old man McLaurin is getting a little bit older here and need a couple pieces behind him for when he leaves. So some offensive weapons would be good, running back room and wide receiver in my opinion here.
Tight end too, I would say. Probably could use some help there.
Yeah. Who'd they get? Okonkwo?
Yeah, they brought in Chig Okonkwo.
And they still got Ben Sinnott if they want to whenever they
he's
decide.
Behind John Bates. He's behind John Bates in the depth chart. Yes.
Okay. Nico's waiting for this guy to just have a breakout.
Mm-hmm. I am. He's sitting on my fantasy team, just waiting.
I'll trade you for him. So
yeah.
I mean, what's your take here, C-Dub? What are you looking at? I mean, they've needed some help on defense for a while too, but I mean that's just what sticks out to me.
Yeah, no, I think offensive weapon is a must. Receiver, tight end, running back. I mean, spin the wheel, pick one. You need all of it, right? So it just depends on what they value and where they value it at, right? You threw a lot of money at the defense for some like band-aids, I would say. You brought in Dafe Owe, the former Raven and Charger, Kayvon Chaseon. You brought in Charles Amenahue, Tim Settle, Leo Chenal. That's great. Kind of manning that middle linebacker for you. Akil Witherspoon at corner, Nick Cross at safety, Amik Robertson at nickelback. And you have some young talent in the secondary, but I think safety is a big need. You have Will Harris and then Nick Cross that you just signed that I just mentioned. But at your starting corners, you have Trey Amos, the second rounder from last year, and Mike Stainstro. And then you brought in Amik Robertson's man that nickel. So I think you have a lot of band-aids that you put there. So you need some long-term young talent in the secondary, on the defensive line. I think linebacker, you're okay for now with Frankie Luvu and Leo Chenal. But yes, I would say center is a very big need. It could definitely be one they're going to target in the second round. Probably. I don't know if it goes in the first round, but it could be somebody they move up for to try to get their guy. But receiver, center, and pick your poison on defense, whatever. You need it all. So it's weird because this team was so good a couple of years ago, but it's an older team, and they're still a bit older in the tooth if you look at the roster as a whole. But I think with a good draft, you could be right back in the mix again, and again, it's going to start with Jaden Daniels and protecting him.
Taking
Nope.
Dang.
I don't know.
Taking a look at the names on the draft board here.
The names on the draft board.
Yep. At their pick at was it 7 here?
Sure.
At their pick, Who has their volume up? I can hear my echo.
I don't hear an echo.
No, I can hear myself. That's okay. Anyway,
maybe you need expert advice. Or you're talking to yourself.
I always do. At 7, though, they can't really miss with a pick here. Somebody's going to fall to them in one of their needs.
Hold on. Wait, that's kind of a bold claim. There's a plenty of busts in the first 10 picks over the years.
You're going to tell me that one of these guys, either, okay, let's just say, let's go Carnell Tate, Ruben Baines, Sonny Styles, Jordan Tyson, Arvell Reese, David Bailey, Jeremiah Love.
They're probably gonna fall. There's somebody's gonna be there, but I'm just saying, to be a bona fide pick, like, statistics show that not every pick pans out in the top 10. That's what I'm saying. But what the name, there's gonna be a name there for sure.
To fill their spot, though, that they need. Somebody like, that's what I mean. They can't really miss on that. Like, it's gonna come to them, and they're gonna be like, okay, one of these guys is gonna fall to us, and they have so many needs that it's just gonna fall.
Yeah, they could blind pick and hit a need. That's essentially what you're saying. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But I mean, yeah, it's an interesting concept with the Washington Commanders here, man, because they do have talent, but you're right, they are older. They were, they did make it to the NFC Championship
2 years ago.
Yeah. Did anybody really remember that? Like, they were playing lights out.
We did.
We did. We certainly did.
We talking about it, so we remembered, I guess.
Any opinions on it, Nico?
About what? Just
Commanders in general.
Yeah, just like we said, just the tight ends, receiving help in general, any receiving, or if Caleb Downs could possibly still be there on the board, take a Caleb Downs, help that back end.
Fair enough. So, I mean, looking at just recovering on this, wide receivers, tight end, center, some running
all
back
defense.
help. Yeah, basically the entire team. But that kind of closes out the Washington Commanders, and we will move on to a team that is near and dear to another person's heart. And Nico, why don't you take this one? Oh, I'm sorry. I meant C-Dub. Why don't you take this one?
We got 3 teams left, guys. We have 3 teams. I mean, we're only over an hour by 2 minutes, so I mean
that's okay.
We'll make this one quick. We don't have to spend a lot of time on it. You got the New Orleans Saints picking at 8. And right off the bat, you invested in a guard to solidify the offensive line. You have a new head honcho at running back with Travis Etienne. You brought in Caden Ellis to fill in the gap that DeMario Davis left by going to New York. And you brought in a punter to fix the worst punting situation in the NFL last year. So you hit a lot of the needs going into it. I think for this draft specifically, and for where the team's at, your main needs are edge, receiver, and then more depth in the secondary, right? Because right now you have Chris Olave, Devon Bailey, and Mason Tipton as your starters at receiver. Now, Devon Bailey was playing well. He got hurt, so we'll see. But he's also going to be 28, 29 heading into the season. Jalen Polk, they traded for, from New England, who had a shoulder injury, so he's been hurt in his entire time. So he's one that had talent. I believe he's a former second rounder. But you definitely want to add some more bodies to that receiving room. I could definitely see him taking a receiver, whether it be Carnell Tate, Mekhi Lemon, whoever. But don't see them investing in offensive line since it's riddled with first rounders. Kelvin Banks Jr., last year's first round pick, David Edwards, who they signed to a big money deal, Eric McCoy, second rounder, Cesar Ruiz, former first rounder from 2020, and Taliesin Fuaga, first round pick from 2 years ago. So when you're looking at it, you sign Noah Fant. So, again, not to drag on with it, but receiver, corner, edge, and I would even throw tight end in there as well. So just younger depth. They kind of got out of the salary cap hell that they've been in for a lot of years. So those would be the main pieces that I would.
How do you feel about the defensive tackle position? How do you feel about your team there? I know you got Brian Brazee there, but you think he's gonna have a good season?
Yeah, I mean, they run a 3-4, so I mean, you got a nice rotation. You got Brian Brzee, you got Vernon Broughton, who was a third rounder last year, the DT from Texas. You have Devon Gottschall, that they traded for from New England, is great nose tackle, played well last year. Christian Boyd, sixth rounder from a couple years ago. Nathan Shepard, who's always been really solid, really underrated player, former Jet. And you re-signed John Ridgway the third. They traded for in from Washington. So you have a lot of depth. You have a lot of bodies, and that's just not even considering like any edges, right? So I think you have a long list. I mean, I don't know if Brian Brzee, if his fifth round option gets picked up. I mean, he had kind of a down year last year, but he doesn't really fit the scheme. I think he's more of a pass rushing 4-3 defensive tackle. So he's playing defensive end in this 3-4 scheme in Brandon Staley's scheme. So I don't know if his long term future is in New Orleans, but I think he was a great player a couple years ago. I just don't know if his puzzle piece fits in nicely with this team. So he could even be on the move. I don't know, but there's a lot of depth there.
They just are a little bit older. I'm looking at them. They are. Would you think about maybe taking something a year too early? Maybe another piece, just because all these guys are pretty old. All those pieces you were saying, pushing 31, getting up there.
Yeah, I mean, you got two guys that are. I mean, 35 is the new 21, dude. Come on.
Shoot.
But I like hearing that. I like hearing that.
I'm just saying, like, hey, these are professional athletes spending millions of dollars on their bodies. But no, I think, and depth across the defensive line. I mean, you really, and it's another team that pick a spot. You can't go wrong with adding some depth, especially with some of the bad contracts and some of the salary cap dead money that we've had over the last few seasons. So.
Yeah, I could see you guys going wide receiver right off the bat, to be honest, with your head coach, the schemes that he has on his offense. He always schemes a way to get a wide receiver open. You already have Chris Olave. I know he gets banged up a lot, but you got Juwan Johnson lined up in that slot. He's not really utilized as like a tight end. And that's kind of like your 1-2 punch right there, to be honest. And then you got Vele. And, I mean, I still think that you guys have room to bolster up that wide receiver room. I think that's what they're going to do.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, receivers a major. But I don't know if they'll address it. I mean, if one of the top receivers are there in the first round, maybe. But I think it might be something to do with the second rounder, with like the Chris Bell. Because that's Chuck's guy at Louisville. Like that was his go-to target there. So it could definitely be someone that they, try to move up for and get, because that's Chuck's guy. Like if he wants him, they're going to go get him, right?
Bring the chemistry back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And he's recovering from an ACL, so he's been a stud. He's got the size, speed. He's a good player, so.
Yeah. All right. So, you want to just go over again those needs that they need, and I'll bring us right back onto the next team.
Yep. So for the Saints, major needs are receiver, edge, tight end, and just for NICO, defensive tackle.
Right. Defensive tackle. All right, so let's go. Let's head over to the NFC West, where the Kansas City Chiefs have that number 9 spot, where they actually made a pretty good haul with Kenneth Walker, getting him in there, and getting Gilman in as a safety, and they actually got DeMarcado too for a 1-year deal in the running back room too, as everybody kind of thought that they might rock and roll with perhaps getting Jeremiah Love, but I think that kind of washed everything away when they did that, and now you got
the reason the Chiefs and the Saints invested so heavily in running back is I don't think Love will make it to their picks.
Yeah. And you don't want to be, booted out, with not having made a move already. You know what I mean? So you don't want to sit there with your hands empty and like, oh, I didn't know, so you have to, you don't want to react. You want to be proactive. So,
so they say, but yeah, they could use a little help on defense. They lost Chanel over there, and they lost both corners.
Yeah, they lost two big corners, and look, their offensive line was not as good last year, and these are some spots that are looking very very difficult to plug and play right now. But I would also say this. I would also say wide receiver. Okay, I'm going to throw that out there right now because they need some stronger wide receivers here. I get Rashee Rice when he's healthy and he's in there or he's not in trouble that he is a playmaker. But can we please get somebody who is more than 90 pounds out there with some speed too? Okay, we need playmakers. Okay, they are playmakers. They do have speed, but it just hasn't worked this past year at all. And I think they need a big body guy out now.
This is the year because their starting receivers are Tyquan Thornton, Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice. With their numbers in that order, make up the 2-1-4, which is Dallas. Shout out D-Town. So this is the year.
This is the year, huh? Okay. I really still think that Denver's going to take the AFC West again. So.
This isn't about Denver. This is about Kansas City.
I'm just throwing it out there. I don't think they're doing it.
We don't. It's not a prediction show. We're talking about the needs of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, and they need a wide receiver.
Keep Denver out your mouth.
They need wide receivers. Okay, that's what they need.
What do you feel like they need, Nico?
I would say cornerback, some secondary help after trading away. I don't know why I blew his name off of my head, but
Trent McDuffie.
Yeah, Trent McDuffie, trading him away. Look at maybe like Mansour Delane, someone right there if he's still there. I like the wide receiver take. I would like a big body if Carnell Tate's still there. Maybe even like Jordan Tyson, Mekhi Lemon, maybe. That's probably what I would. And or edge rusher. They definitely do need some edge rusher help. So if Ruben Bain's still there, maybe one of those top end pass rushers that have been maybe slipping or falling.
It's not too bad. I like that. That's a good take. Yeah, it's
just kind of disappointing for they've invested some high picks in edge over the last couple of seasons.
Yeah,
I mean, look, took George Karlaftis in 2022, Felix Aduke Uzo. I don't know how to say that, bro.
I guess
took him in the first round in 2023. Ashen Gelati in the third round last year. So I mean, you took a lot of guys. They just haven't really panned out. And maybe we need to look at like going up to get a Ruben Bain or one of these edge rushers that'll fit the scheme. Like, David Bailey would be elite next to Chris Jones and Karlaftis, right? So I like the edge take for sure.
Yeah, it'll create a couple more opportunities for at least one of them to get to the quarterback. Yeah.
How can we take as much pressure off Patrick Mahomes as possible?
Exactly.
And then let's do that. He's got one leg, and I got to protect him starting the season.
So yeah, edge is a big one. The corners, offensive line, wide receivers. You guys are pretty much hitting it on the head here. And you think they need a new quarterback? But they're good there.
Well, they just got Justin Fields, so I think they'll be okay.
I think they'll be okay too. That's what That's what I was hoping you were going to say.
Tight end is a sneaky need as well.
It is.
I was gonna say that. I didn't want to say that.
I love the TCU legend Jared Wiley, but he has not been healthy and panned out so far in his NFL career.
Be interesting to see what they do and maybe just create a tight end that nobody even knows about, just sitting there in the woodworks. You know what I mean? Like Andy Reid just building a guy from scratch like Frankenstein. In the shop.
Could they be a Kenyon Sadiq team?
Could they be? Yeah. Why not? Right.
I mean, because you could get Andy Reid to scheme him up. He doesn't necessarily have to line up a tight end every time, but in the slot, I mean, he's a better run blocker than people give him credit for. So
this is true.
This
is absolutely true.
Speed, yeah, for sure.
All right. Are we good with the Kansas City Chiefs?
If you'll just recap the needs for me, please.
Then
yes.
That's what I just did. Edge, corner, tight end. I said wide receiver. That's iffy. A little bit of offensive line, and that should be doing it. But
I dig it.
Yep.
Final team.
Final team.
I think we need to go to the jungle.
This guy is near and dear to C-Dub's heart. It's Joe Burrow and the Bengals. I don't call him the Cincinnati Bengals. I call him Joe Burrow and the Bengals. That's what I call them. It's like the band that comes in, okay? Joe Burrow and the Bengals. They can put on a showcase at any point. I'm just going to throw this out there right now. they could use any type of defensive help. Okay,
Yes.
any type, and
Well, any type of defensive help and anything to keep Joe Burrow upright.
Yes.
Because all they did was sign Boye Mafe, the edge, Brian Cook, the safety, Jonathan Allen, the defensive tackle, and quarterback Josh Johnson. And they retained an offensive guard, Dalton Risner. But
And they re-signed Joe Flacco.
And okay, he's not going to be playing.
You hope not. But he's going to be unking.
There ain't nothing wrong with Uncle, okay?
Yeah.
I hope he brings Dunkin' Donuts inside, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm just dunking with Dunkin'." He should so be a sponsor for Dunkin' Donuts. C-Dub was not amused by that joke at all.
No.
Chris was.
Yeah. What is Flacco going to do with Dunkin' Donuts? Like, that's Affleck's thing. Let Ben have his thing. Flacco's not Dunkin'.
This is what happens when you're the oldest person around. Nobody understands what you say.
Look, stay off Ben Affleck's sponsor, dude. He needs it. He's going through another divorce, I think.
Fair enough. Well, they definitely need some defensive tackle help, some safety help, some linebacker, and some edge help. Surprisingly enough, they could use some cornerback help, but some of their corners that have come in have actually looked pretty decent. But yeah, they also need to work on their offensive line help a little bit. And you okay over there?
Yeah, it just sounds like I'm underwater, so I don't know.
That's the echo
Maybe
I
it's
was
just
telling
me.
you about that I heard.
Oh, well, I guess I'm swimming now too, Bubba. But yeah, I mean, again, another team that's invested in the offensive line, right? You signed Orlando Brown Jr., you drafted Dylan Fairchild, you brought Ted Karras from New England. Dalton Risner, I'm surprised that he's still playing. I know he came from Minnesota, but Amarius Mims in the first round a couple of seasons ago. So I think that interior offensive line could definitely be a need. I know Chase Brown was the fantasy darling for everybody the last couple of seasons, but I think running back is a major need as well.
I think they could utilize it. Yeah, they could definitely use one.
Yes, Taj Brooks, you took in the 6th round last year. Samaje Perine, who's just a tank, right?
He doesn't get enough credit, dude.
He doesn't.
He really doesn't.
I like him, but yeah, I agree. Like, we have to protect Burrow. We have to invest in this defense. Like, you have a lot of draft picks. It's just not all that great.
I would say this.
Need.
I would say if Caleb Downs does fall, I'm not saying that's something that you need, but I think that, or they could use Caleb Downs, right? But what I mean is that kind of energy onto that team could boost the morale of the defense. Okay, he'd
be an enforcer, and he'd upgrade that nickel spot instantly, dude. Like, he can play around the line of scrimmage. He can play deep. He can play anywhere that you put that young man, and he will excel and add that tenacity and ferociousness to the defense. So he's an enforcer. He doesn't have an elite athletic trait, but he is just great at everything.
Yeah.
So you'd instantly improve the team.
So, I mean, that's honestly, I'm looking at anything defense, just like the Chiefs did, I think, last year or 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. They just went straight defense. And then the following year, what did last year's defense look like? Absolutely amazing, right? So
Snags was in his bags.
Yeah, he was. And that was because the year before that, they drafted every single draft pick was a defensive player. So
yeah,
is that what?
And they don't like paying corners. Well, they don't. I mean, it's their MO. They don't like doing it.
But that's how I look at it.
What about Sadiq here? What do you think about Sadiq in Cincy?
I think.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, maybe.
I mean, it's another weapon, sure. I mean, you have Drew Sample as your starter, Mike Gesicki, Eric All Jr. So you got some guys at tight end. I mean, he would have been an upgrade over all of those, I would say. But
yeah,
I don't know if I'm trying my best to win a Super Bowl and get back to the playoffs. I don't know if it's my best move, but who knows? We're not in those rooms. Maybe they that's their number 1 ranked player. So who knows?
Always draft.
They only have like 4
available.
scouts there. Yeah, they only have like 4 scouts there, so it's fine.
They do. They have like the lowest amount of scouts in any NFL team, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say unless you plan on giving him the bulk of the work, like the Raiders got Bowers, right? Because they knew he was going to be, headliner there. This is going to be a weapon that you could just utilize all the time. I mean, they got Chase Higgins and over there, so I see Sadiq as a great tool, but to what extent over in the Bengals when you already have 2 target feeders? You know what I mean? So
I do think they could upgrade a receiver as well. I mean, you don't have a lot of depth behind those 2 starters, right? So maybe in the mid rounds you draft a receiver with some upside that could challenge Yoshivas for the slot.
Yeah, I think it's good. That is one thing they do have is they do have wide receiver depth. So
no, I think they need receiver depth. I don't think they have receiver depth.
I think they do.
Okay, who's outside the top 3? Who would you be comfortable trotting out there?
I think that they still had. I mean, if he can get on there, unless they got rid of him, is Jermaine from Alabama.
He got cut a couple of years ago because he wouldn't pay his rent or something.
That's right, he did. Shamar Stewart. But yeah, I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe they could use some depth. And
here's the tight end depth behind your big 3: Keyshawn Williams, Mitch Tinsley, Charlie Jones, Jordan Moore, Xavier Johnson, Kendrick Pryor, Dante Mayers.
Didn't Tinsley have a couple good games?
Mm-hmm. He flashed. He had a couple good one-handed catches.
He wasn't gonna go absolutely wild, but somebody's got to get hurt from the play.
He was OBJ light.
Like,
not bad. Yeah, I like it. But I mean, are we?
Nico, do you have anything else you would like to add for the Cincinnati Bengals, your favorite team?
I do not. I did like that running back selection you're telling me. Like I said, I do like Chase Brown, but I mean, it would be nice to have like a true difference maker or even add someone in that running back room. I like that take, but my hot take would maybe be tight end Sadiq. But yeah, I like a little everything we've been saying.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna stick over to basically anything on that front line or mid, maybe like the linebacker spot. If Caleb falls
defense,
to him, yeah,
defense,
and defense. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, even if you got
and defense.
If we can do defense off of the defense, I do that too.
Yeah, probably linebacker. I take that back. Probably linebackers probably be up there for me too.
Okay, fair enough.
Hey, Dirty was a big Barrett Carter fan last year, though.
Okay, he's young.
I was
He's super young.
last
Yeah,
year.
you talked about Carter all the time.
I was happy they went over.
Not as much as your made-up player, but you did talk a lot about him.
He went over to the Texans.
And he did.
Ursery. He didn't. He's like, who's that? He's like, yeah, you just made him up. Anyway, on to the next. He was never heard of again. I was like, there he is. Look. And he was like, yeah, you're making shit up. Make stuff up.
That's a ghost. I don't know that person.
But that about does it. That's our top 10. That's our top 10 teams right there. Not looking too shabby. So I would say that they definitely have, within that realm, some really good names in the top 10 as well. Some good players. Some tricky non-blue chip guys that look like blue chip guys too. So that can kind of pass the eye test, but may or may not pan out. Like C-Dub said, it's not always a for sure thing when you get that first round pick. But yeah. But if I could, this episode was brought to you guys by north-hall.com. If you guys want some hot sauce and some mead, go to north-hall.com. Go make your order where they burn couches before the football games, not after, in West Virginia. So also follow us, Top Dog Coverage, at YouTube, X, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram to stay connected with us. Swipe up on Spotify and Apple. Leave comments, it's 5 stars, and go to topdogcoverage.com and vote for your favorite team. We get all that data, and we can see what you guys enjoy as listeners and viewers. And also, if you guys want a shout out on the show and talk a little ball and your rivals, go to topdogcoverage@gmail.com. But that does it for us. It is your boy Dirty, your boy C-Dub, and your boy Nico. We appreciate your time, and we will be back with more. The NFL draft coming up and team needs from 10 to 20 picks. Peace.